Hey. It is Miss Straight Talk coming at you. Yes, Miss Straight Talk. No filter, no apologies, and no sugar added. You hear what I'm saying? So if you are sensitive or easily offended, this may not be the YouTube channel or the broadcast for you. So thanks for joining. For those of you who are hanging out with me, I so appreciate it. Today we're going to talk about today's topic is getting through it versus getting over it. We say it a lot, and I think sometimes when we say it, we think that they mean the same thing, but actually they don't. They have two different types of emotional strings attached to it. So I'm just going to share with you for the next few moments, just kind of give you a perspective of the difference between getting through it and getting over it. So when we say getting through it, when we say that, we're basically saying, we've done the necessary work to process through our emotions. We have done what's needed to be able to navigate in a healthy manner when that situation should arise again. Because, when we think about triggers happen to all of us. There are certain smells that remind you of certain things. There's a song that reminds you of a certain person or a place that you've been. There's an outfit. If you look in your closet, you'll remember what you were doing when you first wore it or why you picked it. So there are some triggers. So when we talk about getting through something, it means that we have done the necessary work to sit in our emotions. And if you are a follower of my podcast, the Life Diet 365 podcast, which you can catch on, most all places where you can listen to a podcast, you'll definitely want to check it out. So I had an episode 11. It was Be Honest with Your Emotions. And I'm going to share with you a couple of things that I offered in that podcast to help us understand sitting in our emotions. So I shared with the audience what works for me. So, I've learned to sit for a moment in my emotions. Like I really do. I've learned to process and just say, okay, how am I feeling? How did I get here? How am I going to get out of this? How do I want to feel after this is over with? So I said I've learned to sit in it for a moment and evaluate where what I'm feeling is coming from, determine what I can and cannot control, and how do I move forward with what I can control, especially during the most recent pandemic that we're in. I manage what I control, and what I can't control, I focus on the truth and keep it moving. And so in that, we can feel how we want to feel and, so on and so forth. But when we go through it, we actually have learned to navigate. It's almost like when you're charting waters. If you're on a boat or whatever, when you're kind of going through, you're charting those waters. So you already know where there may be branches, that may be laying in the water, or there may be a rock, or where it may get deep. You go through it. You know how to navigate. And so you're sitting in your emotions is about a certain matter. You're discovering healthy ways to get through it. That's really all it is. That's what going through means. You're discovering healthy ways to go through it so you're able to get through the triggers. So now let's talk about getting over it. So I say it a lot myself. I'm like, you know what? I'm over it. But am I really? Or am I just saying that, just to kind of make myself feel like, I'm not putting any time or mental energy into it. So when we talk about getting over it, we're basically experiencing it in two different ways, and I'll share with you. When we say that we're getting over it, we're moving past it in a slow, methodical way, but it's slowing down our process of moving on. So, yeah, you get over it, but have you really dealt with the emotions of it? And secondly, the other thing that you could be doing, or I'm going to say we, because I'm guilty of this too. We've suppressed the matter in a major way and packed it away, and we're not and we're going to deal with it at another time. So we pack it away to deal with it at another time. So a lot of times we do say that, I'm over this right now. I can't deal with it right now. I have to come back to it and I have to process it. So as long as you understand that if there are situations in your life or certain circumstances that have happened and you're basically saying I'm over it, you may want to ask yourself, am I really over it? Or did I just suppress it and pack it away to deal with it at another time? The only problem with this method is that, it's not mentally or emotionally healthy for us because it's still lingering and we haven't discovered how to deal with the triggers. Because if you just get over something and then a trigger seeps in there, you bound to go spastic. Like you may go mad. But when you've gone through it, you recognize the rise, where your emotions are coming, or if you have been able to identify when your anxiety changes, then you can use the tools that you've created to navigate and say, you know what, I'm not even going to let that get to me. I can't control that situation. I can't do nothing about how another person feels or how they respond or how they don't feel. I'm just going to accept that it is what it is. And that's pretty much, what we have to do. And so, really, I did this because I hear this a lot. And I heard this, I was listening to something earlier today that prompted me to want to discuss this, because we say this and we don't realize that we're really not over it, or maybe we're really not getting through it. And I'm not here to tell you, how you should feel or how to handle any given life situation. I just wanted to just offer you a deeper perspective on how to handle something when it does come up. And when you do say, I'm getting through it, or I'm over it, you get to decide, because I'm not in your head, I'm not in your heart, and I don't know the emotions behind whatever's going on. But in order to navigate life in the proper way, you have to be able to do it in a healthy way. You have to find healthy tools to get through, or we're going to always be on a 10. And I know when I'm hitting a 10, I know when I go from 0 to a 10, and I've learned to have conversations with myself, not out loud. Somebody might call me crazy, but I've learned to have these inner conversations, this inner dialogue, to say, you know what, hey, wait a minute, you're up here. Is that necessary? Are you overreacting? Is there a better way to handle the situation? Do you need to step back? Do you need to walk away and come back and visit it at another time? Like, that's how we need to handle it, because a lot of times when we hit that 10 and we just respond and we react, when we come back and we reflect on the matter, then we're upset. So like I said before, sometimes we've got to sit in our emotions, and sitting there may mean you counting backwards from 10 or 20 or maybe 1,000, because I don't know how high you get, but I know where I get. So I'm hoping that you found this very helpful, and you might be able to take these tools and use them in your own life and through your own life situation. So thanks for joining me. I am Miss Straight Talk. And as I stated, I have a podcast. You can check me out on the Life Diet 365 podcast. I'm on Instagram at Be Straight Up and Facebook at Straight Talk. So thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you checking me out. Bye-bye.